Previously on The Walking Dead.
You're not my babysitter anymore.
He's strong. The Saviors are over half the workforce, and we've had too many walk off already.
Yeah, because that's who they are.
We need the food. Until that ethanol shows up, we're holding on to our surpluses because we're going to need him.
I gave you the benefit of the doubt. You pack your shit and get out of here first thing in the morning.
Christ, you damn near got yourself killed. What the hell are you doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Indie Radio presents Talking About Walkers, the Walking Dead podcast, the show that breaks down all new episodes of your favorite zombie TV show right here on indieradio.org. And now, here are the hosts of the podcast, Kinte, Jen, and Olaf. Hello, and welcome to an all-new episode of Talking About Walkers, the Walking Dead podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kinte, all the way live from Los Angeles, California, and I'm so happy to be with you here tonight. I am looking forward to talking about this episode. We are in episode 3 of season 9 of The Walking Dead. All right, so let me introduce my wonderful co-host. I'm gonna start off with the one, the only Jen. How you doing, Jen?
I'm great. I feel like for only episode 3, I don't know. It feels longer. I feel like we've been watching for a lot longer.
Yes. And how is it there in Hawaii, by the way? Because my sister and my 2 nephews are in Hawaii. They're on Honolulu.
You know, the nice thing about living in Hawaii is that things really don't change very much. So when things do change, it becomes kind of, big news. But for, I would say 360 days out of the year, there is nothing to report. It's nice. It's sunny. It's temperate. Highs in the mid 80s, lows in the maybe upper 60s. I mean, look, it's hard for me. Such a paradise out here. Everybody's going to want to come, and I can't have that. So it's beautiful, but you don't want to stay. Don't say we have zombies. That's what we have. We have zombies. Don't come.
Okay. Well, we have zombies too here in Los Angeles. So I'm gonna take your the note from you and try to keep people away. So we got zombies. You don't want to come. You don't want to. All right. So also joining us is the one and only Olaf Barbosa, the captain. What's up, Captain?
Well, not much. We don't have zombies here in the great state of Indiana, but we've got something worse and far more deadly than zombies. We got rednecks.
Opossums?
No.
So we got rednecks. That's what we got here.
Well, my next guess was going to be raccoons.
Yes.
No,
Cats, dogs.
Rednecks.
And if you are
good old country boys, that's what we got around here.
Do you think zombies have like personality types? Like, is there such a thing as like the redneck zombie or the upper class zombie? I mean, do you think that there's like actual class distinctions? Because that's kind of an interesting idea.
Well, of course there is. I mean, I've noticed a couple of redneck zombies going through there, or, res walkers going through. Them's the ones got the hat on sideways, and they're kind of, you can tell them.
I will say I have never seen on The Walking Dead.
He said, "Dim's the ones."
Dim's the ones. You can tell.
Hilarious.
I have never seen a walker on The Walking Dead with a baseball cap on. But I really, really want to see that. I want to see one backwards, because those are I feel like that's an important inclusion for all. We have to include people that wear their baseball caps backwards. It's important.
Yes.
I'm going to write that in as a suggestion.
So you can write that in as a suggestion. If I ever wound up on the show, I would be the walker with the cowboy hat.
Well, now a cowboy hat might get knocked off. I could see that, right? But a baseball cap, I mean, it fits pretty snugly to your head. It's not going anywhere. So it seems
Yeah,
like that should be a thing.
you don't lose your hat if you got it. If you got your hat right, you don't lose your hat.
I don't know. Those zombie hordes, they look pretty crowded and jostly. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, so a couple of things I wanted to get off my chest before we go on. Okay, one is like I'm from Los Angeles. Kudos to my Dodgers. We're in the World Series. Yay. We defeated the Milwaukee Buckers. Milwaukee Bucks. No, Brewers. I'm sorry. Bucks is the basketball team. Oh God. So go Dodgers in the World Series. We hopefully we'll be able to defeat the Red Sox. But that's just a little. I just had to throw that out there. Also, I had the pleasure to see Halloween 2018, and it was a good movie. It was good. It wasn't great. It had its flaws, but overall it was a pretty good movie. So check it out. It's definitely worth seeing. There were some things where it kind of made me roll my eyes, but I guess it is what it is. So
yeah, I've heard a lot of good reviews. People that have seen it, they liked it. So
it's worth seeing for sure. It's definitely worth seeing. It's not a bad movie. It's not a great movie, but it's definitely not a bad movie. So it's not like if me and Jen had made it,
then it would have been fabulous.
Oh yeah, it'd be the best movie of all time.
It'd be the bomb, dude.
And we would have hired Olaf as Michael Myers. Olaf would have been a great. I think you would be a great Michael Myers, man.
Yeah, I got the machete and all.
Yeah,
I already got the props. We don't have to worry about getting props. I already got them all.
I don't know. Michael Myers in a cowboy hat, though. I don't know. Well, good work. Good work.
But
I would make it work.
And it's poised to make a lot of money too this weekend. So we'll see what the numbers are. But let's get into this. Is a Walking Dead show. So I wanted to, before we get into the episode, I wanted to share with you this. I haven't shared with you guys, but AMC isn't worrying about the ratings for The Walking Dead. So essentially, The Walking Dead, as we talked about a couple of times on the show, the ratings have fallen pretty far down. And let me to give you guys an idea of what they are.
I heard last week that they hemorrhaged quite a bit.
They were at 4 million or something like that last week.
I'm about to pull up the Carnage. Get it, Carnage. Wait a minute, where is it at? Okay, what the heck is this? Okay, there we go. So as we can see, it went from 6 million down to slightly under 5 million, which is the lowest it's been for a while, as you can see. Which we've said this before, is still really high.
That is really high.
It's still really high for any show, but it's definitely something they need to look at, and why of the big fall. Oh, I didn't realize Scott Gimple is he wrote an episode too. Huh? Okay, but anyway, so that's just something to keep your eye on, the what's going on with The Walking Dead and the ratings. I don't think that it's gonna ever fall to the place where they have to just cancel it, but it's definitely not going to be what it once was. It's just not going to get up there. I think it just captured a time and place, and that's what we have there, and it's fine. It wasn't going to stay like that forever. So
it's amazing that it lasted as many seasons as it did with the massive amount of ratings that it had.
Right.
And it says, this is funny. It says, this is from last year. Okay. It said, Walking Dead's plummeting ratings are Negan's biggest victim. Hilarious. I love these titles. these articles and stuff. It's hilarious. But anyway, so
just to start off the show, I mean, I'm sure everybody's got their own idea about why the ratings are sliding and all that stuff. But part of me thinks that this is not necessarily, it's not really story related as much as it is just story fatigue, and that. Like we were saying, that it's bound to happen. It's amazing that it didn't happen sooner. But now we're at a place where there's less and less big story to go to because they didn't do the stuff that they could have done during other seasons to sort of ramp up something new. Excuse me, something new that could have been like, hey, here's what we've got. Does that make sense?
Yeah, somewhat.
Perfect sense, yes.
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I was gonna play, Boys to Men. It's so hard to say goodbye. But I don't want them to strike copyright strike the video, so I'm not gonna do that. But we can kind of hum it inside of our heads. But we got to start this episode off on the somber note. Well, not for me and Olaf.
It's like I know.
I knew that
know.
was coming.
It's like, hey, Jen.
Yeah.
Your boy's dead.
He lives on in my memory. What can I say?
Oh man,
that's the only place he is because he's dead.
All right. Well, I'll take that. That's okay. That's all right. At least
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, at least we know that he died for a worthy cause. Sort of. I mean.
Oh, to make Olaf happy? Yes.
A little. No. I mean, sort of. I think Justin's death is like it's the catalyst. It's what needed to happen. There was no way that this was ever going to work. So something needed to happen. And it's weird how they all rallied around Justin, though. Like, nobody actually really seemed to care about him when he was alive. But when he's dead, he's like, oh, no, the death of Justin just made it obvious that we could never get along. Well, wait a minute. What were you guys all rallying around Justin when he was alive? Okay, that seems a little ridiculous. But
I'm shocked you didn't say, why did it have to be Justin? Why couldn't it have been the guy from Entourage? Why did
Hey, as walkers go, he was a gorgeous walker, okay? I mean, there's not many of them, but he was definitely a gorgeous walker.
Well, he was pretty fresh kill, so I mean, they hadn't had time to really decompose much, so.
Well, it just struck me how ridiculous it is to sound like you're gushing over somebody who's freshly dead. This is next level. This is really next level. Okay, so anyway, the funny thing to me, not funny thing, the sad thing to me about Justin's death is it not only do we not really, we didn't really get to see what I thought we might see about his death, but there's also, it feels to me like there was something sort of missing out of that. Like maybe there were other shots that were, or maybe there were other scenes that were shot that we didn't get to see because it feels like there's a huge jump in there. Did you guys feel that?
Yeah, kind of like you all of a sudden he's off walking, and then next thing you see he's dead. But you know what the worst thing is? The really bad thing about it is that Justin won't be in any more episodes because he's dead.
I know.
Oh, okay. But now we do know. But now we do know that Justin was actually involved, obviously, with Simon's group, right?
Right.
Because they were targeting them. So clearly he had done some other pretty bad things too. But no, when I say there's something missing, I mean it felt like there was something missing from not the time that he got knocked off the road or whatever and then walked. It was the time that he was a walker to the time that he was on in the cart. I don't know. I feel like I missed something in there.
No, they just didn't show them take him down. I mean, but you
Yeah.
can assume it.
Yeah, they didn't show. I mean, he came wandering out after everybody, after the other ones went past. So he's kind of like comes wandering out. Oh, hey, look at this. Oh, boom. That's the guy that they're missing. That's the guy
So
they're looking for.
Well,
that seems really unfair
can I
because,
tell you why?
why?
The writer said, "Okay, we got to kill Jen's boyfriend. He already the walkers feasting on him, so we're not gonna just and then have to show her. She has to then see him getting taken out. They decided it was just too much for you. So that's
So it was a mercy, is what you're saying.
yeah.
Yes, it was. It was a mercy. They couldn't bear to put that much heartache on you, then kill your boy.
Well, in that sense, then thank you very much, writers. That was really sweet of you. But the logical part of my story brain wants to go, but what? What exactly happened there? I mean, obviously we can fill in the pieces. It was just there was something very odd about the disconnect between Justin's death and that kind of being the catalyst for the Saviors being like, okay, yeah, we're out of here now.
Right.
I mean, I know other stuff happened. It just felt like that was kind of the pivot point. And it certainly felt like the pivot point when they were having the standoff.
Well, it's because a lot of the Saviors feel the same way you do, and now your boy's dead.
Well, I'd revolt too if he was dead. Jeez, nobody saved him. What the heck?
Yeah.
They're all like they're all like hot after him also, and see now he's dead. So
that's it. That must have been it. I see. See,
they all have their crushes on him. So and now
Rick could have easily
dead.
Rick could have fixed this whole thing by just arresting Justin that night and putting him in with Negan.
Right.
Yeah.
He could have just avoided it all.
But see, then Negan would have Neganed him, and then you know what? The next day, your boy'd be dead again.
All right.
Anyway it goes, your boy's dead.
Okay, so pipe dreams, whatever. All right. Moving right along.
And I want to tell the people in the chat room that you can participate in the conversation. Just go on the right side to the top chat, and it says "Say something," and we will acknowledge you, your questions or your statements or whatever. So don't be afraid to do that. This is a live show.
Yeah, but Justin won't be joining us because Justin's dead.
That's so.
Look, I'm representing Justin, so just so you know, he's here in spirit. He's totally here.
Mind, body, and spirit. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this guy right here. Jed. It was his name.
I liked him.
I like him too. He was on Entourage. He played. I don't know if you watched Entourage, but he played the director. He always would call it Suit. Oh, you're a Suit. That guy. He's a really good actor, and he's been good in a lot of stuff. And and he's really good in this as well as an antagonist, shit starter, whatever you want to call him. And he really had a good episode in this one. I mean, honestly, he could have actually been Justin, and Justin could have been Jed. Justin and Jed. I could have, and then Zach McGowan would still be in there. But I like what they did. I really liked him in this episode, and I thought that he was a good character in this episode.
Well, first of all, this particular actor definitely plays sort of the big, not brutish, but kind of bullying guys really well. So I give him total credit for that. I like it a lot. Also, the other thing which was kind of interesting to him is it seemed like he wasn't really, I don't know if he was a hothead as much as he was just like, okay, we're fed up. It's enough. And because it sort of felt to me like this was not just an emotional response. Like it was, look, we're done. We're hungry. We're doing all the work. We're just done. And he seemed to really portray that. I think. I feel like that's sort of the sentiment of everybody that was sort of like in that group. It was just sort of like, we're just done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was like one of those we're not going to take it. We're behind. One our people are dying. And you're not even protecting us. Why are we doing this? And yeah, like he was like the face of the movement.
It did feel very much. I mean, like, I know we try to break down the episode piece by piece, but in this particular case, it did feel like the entire episode was really about a failed mission of protection. That Rick, boy, as hard as it is to say, Rick doesn't have the strength to bring all these people together, and it's an odd situation. Because I don't think we've ever been sort of faced in The Walking Dead with the situation where there weren't two kind of opposing leaders that could kind of battle it out. And instead, you just have opposing populations that can't seem to see things the same way. And it's there's something sort of interesting about the way that toward the end of the episode, we sort of understand, I think, even a little bit more that nobody is really safe. I mean, not that anybody ever was safe, but really and truly nobody is safe. That is, people are not even safe from the people that they thought that they were safe from. Does that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking specifically of Gabriel, but
yeah. That was and I really like that too, because one thing that I was worried about this season, just kind of hearing the conflicts that were going on. Hearing that you had no more Negan, was where there's a conflict coming from, and I'm glad that they figured out ways to keep it going and ways that I can get into or sink my teeth in.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's always been the living versus the dead, right? I mean, that's always sort of the primary conflict. But I'm really glad that they've sort of moved into what I would consider to be the next evolution of what that kind of conflict would look like, which is basically civil war. I mean, this is what happens. People get together, they think about things differently, they try to work them out, they don't work them out. And when they don't work them out in the end, it ends up being a huge split. That when I can't even begin to put my finger on what that might be, but it's clear they're clearly showing Rick as less and less of a potent leader. He's more and more of a. Remember when Rick was crazy? Remember in Alexandria when he was just totally nuts? Even then, he was still really commanding. His presence was commanding. His voice was commanding. And now Rick talks really softly. And he is sort of always kind of hanging back a little bit. He's like, just his actual presence feels less, which is quite interesting, I think.
Yeah, well, they're phasing him out. So,
well, yeah, like I said, he's only got 2 more episodes. He's out of there, so he's not gonna, he's not really, going to waste a lot of energy on it.
Well, no, I think that's done actually by design. I think they actually did that on purpose. Like, he is supposed to be, we're supposed to understand that his rule, if you will, is failing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're supposed to be led down that road. That, okay, whatever happens next, this is the soft power, and here's the power on the rise. And it feels to me, for the moment, like the power on the rise is Maggie and Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to last, but that is what the power on the rise looks like. Because even Carol told Rick, look, when the conflicts first broke out, I just wanted to kill him. That's pretty heavy.
Right.
Right.
Don't you think so?
Oh, no, it's very heavy, yes. Yes. Now, you mentioned the conflict with Gabriel, Father Gabriel. I'm gonna play a clip. I'm gonna just play the audio and just have the steel. You can just see the steel, but I'm gonna play this clip of the conversation. So here we go.
Frequency mode. It's Jada's. I know you're in range. I saw the helicopter last night.
What do you have? An A or a B?
Is it you? Did you take them?
No pickups, but the deal still stands. Will you have an A or a B?
Neither. It's just me. I paid my share.
You've been compensated.
What will it take?
An A.
An A.
Tomorrow.
Who are you talking to? You followed me?
Were they right? Did you do something to Justin?
No.
Then who were you talking to? What did you do?
Bad things. But not this.
I stood for you. I care about you. Tell me the truth. Answer my questions. You traded people, yes?
Yes.
That's what you were going to do with me. With Rick.
Yes.
Why?
For supplies. For my people. It didn't start that way. It just ended up there.
I don't know what the hell that means.
I tried. You saw I tried. At Alexandria, but the first thing that goes wrong and they suspect me. Rick suspects me. And when those saviors came at me, everyone stood by. Except for you. Gabriel. Leave with me.
What? And where?
There's another place. It's far from here, but if we go together, we can get there. It can be different for us. There's only one thing. You can't tell anyone. But if you can trust me and help me with one small part of the deal, we can have a life like you can't imagine.
Whatever this is, I can't do it. I have to tell Rick.
You can't choose me instead?
Not like this.
And all this time, I thought you were a bee.
Ooh.
Somebody's an A and not a B.
Yeah, somebody's an ASSHOLE. But
you know, I like how her first response to "Are you talking to somebody?" is "You followed me." Like, I just love how guilty people are able to answer a question with a question and put put the suspicion back on the other person, like, oh, well, what were you doing? What were you doing? Well, what were you doing? Yeah, that was actually kind of funny.
But then also
the end of that.
But also though, it's like, dude, don't say you're gonna just say, yeah, okay, sweetie, and then wait, get her back and then be like, people always do that in movies. They always, oh, I'm gonna have to tell on you. You're gonna have to pay. I'm like, and that person got a gun in their hand. I'm like, what do you expect is gonna happen?
Right. It's like, you followed her. Nobody knows that you followed her. You're out now in the junkyard, which is away from everybody else. Yeah, don't spill your beans there.
Man, I'd have lied. I'd have been like, baby.
Well, also,
I'm on your.
It's so highly hypocritical at this point for a lot of these characters to pretend that they are standing on any moral high ground when they've all done absolutely horrible things. And that's why I'm saying, you can't trust anyone. I feel like she's actually being super disingenuous, but I kind of feel like maybe Gabriel is too. Well, I mean, I don't know exactly how to kind of frame this, but it's not like Gabriel is sort of standing with no blame on his shoulders either. He lied. He told Rick that he was with her all night long, and clearly he wasn't. So there's all these like implied layers of stuff that goes on that always catches up with these people. And it always seems to be in the moment when they're trying to stand on some kind of moral high ground that they don't really have access to, that like isn't really theirs. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with
you.
You.
Yeah, I'd think that would be like stupid mute button.
There's always these soliloquy moments for
right.
all of these characters when they're expressing, why it is they feel so morally outraged at this or that. And then you look back at like what they've done, or you even look back within the episode, and they don't have a leg to stand on. And I'm not saying that Gabriel has not redeemed himself in a lot of ways and become sort of, I wouldn't call him a paragon, but he's definitely come a long way. But for him to just outright lie to Rick is sort of like he's backsliding into being the old Gabriel. Why?
Well,
I mean, I guess we can guess why.
Well, yeah, we can guess pretty much why, because he said, well, I left after we, and I left after that. So, but I said I was with you all night. And so I don't know. Maybe she's pretty, it's like she got him all twisted up because, it's been a while for him. I don't know.
So even in the apocalypse, sex changes everything. I get it.
Sex is the answer to everything.
Well, no, I mean, clearly it's not the answer to everything. It just screws a whole bunch of other stuff up at the same time. So yeah, okay. But I mean, but it is kind of funny that like for Gabriel to be saying that stuff just because we know who Gabriel is. I mean, we know where he comes from, and all the talk about, I don't know. For some reason, I just found that one particular piece just really irksome. Like, maybe I'm the only one. I don't know, but that part just bothered me. But it did fit in with the whole theme of you can't really trust people.
Right. Yeah, because you don't know. Yeah, you did. I mean, he tried to trust her. She tried to trust him, and they don't trust either. Now they don't trust either one.
Well, and Rick trusted Gabriel, and Gabriel lied to him, and then Gabriel trusted her, and then she lied to Gabriel, and then I mean, like it's just although I do see where they're going a little bit. I mean, I think I can see at least from the story perspective, you can kind of see where they're going, but it makes your head spin after a while when you start thinking about the layers of complexity in terms of who's being loyal to who. Nobody's being loyal to anyone. And that also was sort of, I think, 100% displayed at the very end of the episode when we see Maggie and Daryl turn away from someone being executed. And it's so funny. I thought about this when they hung Gregory. I actually thought, what?
No, I was going to say, okay, we're going to go into that in a minute, but you're going to talk about Gregory. Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say about Gregory was this feeds into that same exact narrative about how Maggie and Daryl are really changing. They're changing how they perceive how society should be ordered, and it's not Rick's order. It's completely different.
Yeah, they have reasons to be like that, because of what.
Sure, I think they have more personal reasons themselves, but I think the schism that I see is something that's like the dream was Alexandria. That was sort of the overarching dream, but the reality is Hilltop, the Saviors, and beyond. That's the reality. So the dream is still Alexandria, but Alexandria can only, and I feel like that's what we saw when they had their family day. It was like, well, this is the ideological, this is what we all want, this is what we want to attain, this is what we want to do. We want to be able to raise a family, we want to be able to be free from harm. This is the dream that we're trying to live. But the harsh reality is that doesn't exist anyplace else. And so,
Right.
How are they going to fix that? Or can they even fix it? I don't know, because maybe Rick is just living in that dream.
Yeah. All right. I want to get into the face-off between the Sanctuary people and Rick, and then we're going to circle back to the whole, the Maggie and Daryl. Dang, I'm old, you guys. Maggie and Daryl. All right, so here's the face-off. I'm gonna play the clip. I'm just gonna use the steel and then just play the audio because I don't want to get a YouTube strike. So here we go.
Don't.
Solid advice. You should take it. No way you get me before I open her up. Ain't that right, boss lady?
You killed the others, huh?
Is that what you think? Shit, man, you got no damn clue. We're not killing anybody unless we have to. This is about the guns. And seeing as how we're being hunted and all, maybe it won't come as a big bombshell that we're vamoosing out of your little pet project. We don't need a babysitter. We just need a little protection for our trip home.
It doesn't have to be this way.
Talk time is up. Toss DJ your gun. We'll let you walk, and we'll be on our merry way. Over and over, I heard you yapping about how every life counts, and man, I gotta tell you, I'm right there with you. But if you don't give up that gun, her life ain't gonna count for shit for too much longer.
You do this, there's no going back. Everything we're doing, it ends.
Ended with Justin. There's no going back from that. Not for us.
It's over.
It's over.
It's over. All right, so we know what happened after that. Carol, who's all of a sudden this ninja, is able to escape from their Jed's grip. So, what do you think about that? I mean, it's over, right?
Right.
Is it over? Is this war, all-out war, part deux?
Well, that scene was over, but I don't think the fight's over with, though. It's just beginning. There was a couple, the next episode. I don't think they're ever really going to be to where they can actually get along. The saviors can get along with anybody else because they were under Negan for so long, and he kind of he got that kind of that mindset with him of that we're all Negan and you do things a certain way, and Rick and his group are not anything like Negan, so there's always going to be battles between the two, and I don't think the two will ever really fully function together for any length of time. So, short spans they can do something like trying to build a bridge, but it kind of looks like they're not even going to finish the bridge because they're getting too pissed off and everything and not getting protection and all that. So I don't think there's ever going to be a long relationship between like Rick's crew and the saviors.
So it seems to me like there's three different options. Option number one is they split off and the saviors basically starve. I mean, they're living in an industrial complex, right? There's not much that they can do. And we know that they've already picked clean all the surrounding area. So they would have to leave. Option number two is some threat, man-made or otherwise, acts as a rallying cry for everybody to have to work together. I can see that as being a possibility. But option three seems almost more Walking Dead world possible. And that is that the threat is actually another group. And that the other group becomes a way for everybody to solidify. The thing that is sort of interesting about the way that they have split everyone off is that they're splitting everybody off in these ideological compartments. And Maggie's group, the Hilltop has all the food right now, right? Or they did, but they went to great pains to tell us that by delivering the food without the ethanol, that was going to be a problem, right? That they were actually going to have some issues going forward, not being able to feed. If they can't feed themselves, they also can't feed everybody else. So it seems like there's something in that. Also, it feels to me like what might be sort of setting itself up here is this idea between all the groups that it's either get together or die. It's not really get together because we need guns or because we don't trust you. I mean, that I feel like was sort of the emphasis of the episode. You can't trust anyone. Well, if you can't trust anyone, then you have to trust the group that at large. Right. And if that's what they're going to do, then they somehow have to have something that will rally them together so that they all face the threat equally and so that they all have to respond to it equally. Right? Does that make sense? I mean, that's basically what Rick did when he went and got the kingdom. He said, look, you can't be removed from this because you're part of it. So either your response is with us or it's with them. That to me seems like maybe a more kind of a sustainable storyline. What do you guys think?
If they are with them, yeah, it would make it easier to continue on. But if they're against each other, then it's just going to be fighting. All it's going to be fighting. Nothing's going to get accomplished, and it's just not going to work. So yeah, in other words, if they're together, they're together. If not, they're not.
See, because the saviors don't have guns,
right? And
not only do they not have guns, but they also don't have food.
Right.
So what they do from here is it's a crazy gambit that they're playing, that they just walk off the job.
Right.
Even if they can say, well, we weren't protected, there's a big question in the air right now about what happens to them. Hilltop, it feels like Hilltop is taken care of. And it feels like Alexandria is taken care of. It does not feel like the saviors are taken care of at all.
No, because that's where I say they're still under that kind of that Negan mentality, because it was like, oh, well, we don't have to do that because Hilltop is going to give us half their food and this other group is going to give us their food. So they have that mentality of little. They're more of kind of like, we're the ones in charge. You need to take care of us. We don't need to take care of you. You need to take care of us.
See,
They've got that mentality.
I would agree with that until I saw what we just played. I would agree with that until I saw that clip. Until I saw the actual piece. And at that point, he says, which I think is not, and it's not coincidental that he says, Rick told us that every life mattered. And I think that is pivotal. That feels like it's got some writing resonance in it. Like it's supposed to be very echoey in the story. And there's something about that which also to me seems to say, wait a minute, see, they're not back to Negan, but what they are is, you're not protecting us. And we can't protect ourselves because you've taken the guns. And Maggie won't give them guns. And Daryl doesn't want them to have guns. And even Carol could have killed anybody at that moment. I mean, she could have. It wouldn't have been that big of a stretch. She said she wanted to in the beginning of the episode, but she didn't either. Standing side by side with Rick, she didn't kill anyone either. And what did he say? What did Rick say? He said, every life matters. Like, I just feel like that there's a pivot point here, which maybe isn't for all of us as story heavy as maybe some of the other episodes have been even this season, but there's something happening here between these groups which is, it doesn't feel the same. It feels different. Like they're not setting us up for an all-out war. They're setting us up for an ideological fight. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I guess so, yeah. I guess it does. In other words, that they're going I don't know. I kind of see it as, like I said, it's just going to be like it's kind of like a like the schoolyard fight is like, okay, you got this group and this group is tired of this group, and they're going to kind of go at, walk away from each other for a little while and then go, hey, wait a minute. I think we need to repair this because we're not getting food. We can't do anything. They're doing stuff. So I think it's kind of like they kind of like go their separate ways for a little bit and then realize that, oh, we do need each other. Because right now it's like they don't think, the Saviors don't think that they need Maggie and her group or Rick and his group. They don't need the other groups. They think they're fine on their own because they were, like I said again, I have to go back to the Negan, is that he was like, oh, you take what you want. You force, you don't have to worry about it because you find somebody else to do the work and you take, what they've done. And, that mentality doesn't work anymore because they don't have anybody to threaten anymore. And you'll have some of the Saviors that, that like the idea of what's going on with Rick and Maggie. They kind of like that life and want that to work. And then you have the Saviors that are like going, nope, we're not going to do this. So it's like I said, I think it'd be like, a couple of episodes. It'll be a touch and go, and then they'll finally get to the point where it's like, oh, yep, we need to work together. What do you think?
There's got to be.
I don't know about that.
There's got to be some point at which they either break off and join another group, or they decide, yeah, okay, we want what you guys are trying to achieve. The question that I have really, though, is what is it that Maggie and Daryl are trying to achieve? And I know that you wanted to circle back to that, so I hope that we get to there because I feel like that's really important.
Well, let me play the clip and then we'll get into it. Here we go.
Beg. Like you made them beg.
Drop it.
B. It's okay.
Take out Justin with that thing.
Killed my husband.
Daryl, please.
They got a reason.
We've all done things.
People will find out.
She's the last one. After this, it's over.
Maybe for you. But it won't be. With something like this, it keeps going.
This was her home. My mother and my grandmother found this place for the group. There were so many of us then. Men and women. Kids. My mom and I built a garden. Me and my brother used to play right here. But then the saviors came. And Simon wanted what we had. He gave us our final warning. Afterward, we ran. And we tried to forget. But then your people came and asked us to fight. We did because we couldn't forget. After Rick ended it, he went along because we didn't think we had a choice. Until you hung Gregory. That's when we knew. Rick's rules aren't the only rules. You showed us the way. It was time.
You did this because of me.
They murdered my mother. She shot my brother right here. And they took everything because they could.
Please. It's not like that anymore, okay? I'm one of you now.
Did you do it?
Simon would have killed me too.
You asked me to beg for his life. He was crying and you smiled. I told you I loved him. I needed him. He was only 11 years old. And what did you say?
I don't remember.
Say it.
Please.
What did you say?
No exceptions. Daryl, Maggie! Daryl, you can't do this! I've changed!
I changed, Daryl. Don't do it.
I changed for you.
You going about to change again.
That was harsh.
Not really. I mean,
Yes,
I'm
it was.
letting y'all know right now. If they kill me and y'all get in a position to kill my killers after the zombie apocalypse, you better do it, Olaf. No exceptions.
No exceptions.
You better when you got them on their knees and they about to get it, you say, Kinte told me if I don't do this, he's gonna come back. Get me.
It's like no exceptions.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, man, nah. You know, I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, to be honest with you, you know, they said she smiled during it, you know, so she took some kind of enjoyment in there. See, that's one thing they say though. What's that old saying about when you're on top, be good to the people on the bottom in case you're not on top anymore?
Something like
Something like
that. Something like that. I don't know.
Something like that. I feel like I'm George Bush right now.
See,
he's like, you can fool half the people.
You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time.
Something like that. Yeah. So
see now,
but
if I was in that position, I'm good. I'm ready to go because all I got to do is, and I'm gone. You know.
But okay, wait. If there is only vigilante justice, if that's all that there is, and there are no rules anymore about who you can or cannot kill, then what is the point of having groups together in the first place? I mean, honestly, I know that there's a bigger question. I know that the question about vengeance is mine is, that's always a big topic. But honestly, you're talking about the reconstruction of society, and how do you deal with a group of people who, if they're the ones who are just going to go out and say, and I'm not saying that they didn't do things wrong, okay, because I absolutely think obviously they did do things wrong. What I am saying though is if you're going to reform society, you can't just have everybody deciding that this is the rule. And what she said was, we saw you hang Gregory and we understood that Rick's rules aren't the only ones. That's it. Rick's done. That's toast right there. There's no coming back from that. The rules don't apply. Once that happens, there's the only way that things can come back together is if they fall apart completely. And I think that's maybe where it's going.
I got to give this show credit in this regard. That in previous seasons, things seem to just happen on the show. And a lot of times it didn't have as much weight to it. And one thing I love about this is the fact that Gregory's execution is actually having ramifications. It's not just happened in the first episode. So it makes that scene much more weightier. When you go back now, it's like, okay, that scene really pushed something into motion, right? And I love that because, because a lot of times in previous seasons, things just kind of happened, and it really didn't have much of a big effect on it. I use a show like Breaking Bad. Every little thing that happened on that show had a weight to it. That's why when the smallest of things would happen, you would be so interested because that the show was, it would always make everything significant. And Walking Dead didn't really have that for a while. And I love the fact that moment wasn't just a moment for the premiere, just a shocking moment. Yeah. You guys into the premiere, that actually has ramifications. And I believe Angela Kang said on Talking Dead that night that did. I think she foretold that would have ramifications on forward.
Yeah, it's definitely a ripple effect. That's for sure. That's why I can totally see the Saviors using some kind of post-apocalyptic meme like "Justice for Justin" or something as sort of their center focal point, because and again, this sort of all goes back to, okay, well, if there are no rules and everything is vigilante justice, if we are now living through the cowboy days of sort of whatever is left, then what is there? Then what's left? What is Michonne even doing? Why is it even going to matter? And to me, that seems like maybe the biggest issue. The biggest issue is not necessarily just, well, what are Maggie and Daryl going to do? Because I think that's going to be pivotal. It's why does any of that matter if everything just breaks down? If you're just together with a group of people because you just can't survive by yourself, then you're just Eugene. If you're with a group of people because you're trying to rebuild a society, then that's different. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
No, you're currently right. I mean, correct. No, I think it's, I think it's really good. And, that scene was great. And this episode, although I would say it's the one I liked the least. Well, I mean, it's only been 3 episodes, but it was really good. Like these kind of episodes in previous seasons, in the last couple of seasons, would have been really bad.
Yeah.
And I got to give this season credit because this is the type of episode that we wouldn't like, and it was good. It was a good episode. There was enough happened in it that made it very important to the overall telling of the story, and it was really good. So kudos once again to the crew. So before we go, I'm just gonna leave it.
You're gonna leave and leave it to us, okay?
I want to thank you guys, of course, everyone that's listening, as well as our wonderful panel, and to make a show note, we will be back, of course, next week for an all new episode of Talking About Walkers. This week, tomorrow, we're going to have an all female panel on our show, Mars Venus, as well.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have some really good questions to the ladies. On Wednesday, we're going to have at the next episode of Mayans, we're going to cover talking about Mayans or talking Mayans MC, talking about Mayans. Hilarious. Oh man, tonight has not been a great night.
We just mostly talk about Easy anyway.
Yeah, well, no, we talk about the Mayans and their calendar, and
oh yeah,
and we're going to actually
the Mayan calendar.
We're going to sacrifice a virgin on the final episode of the season.
Sure, glad I'm safe.
Could be good. Anybody that want to,
volunteer to be the sacrifice, yeah.
So, yeah, but
I'm not sure a week is enough lead time for that. You may need.
No. We got some weeks for the finale.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
For the finale, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, you got time to find a virgin before the finale. So
yes. Is there any virgins left that are not babies? But and also this Wednesday, also on the spotlight, we'll be interviewing a actor filmmaker named Dustin Ferguson, not related to me. He spells his last name a little different.
Nice.
So you start to say something, Olaf? Oh, okay. All right. So with that said, we're gonna go start off with you, Jen. How can people get you in social media and all that goodness?
You can find me on Twitter at followingbliss1, and you can find me on the web at moviesmakethemeal.com and criticallaughs.com.
All right, Olaf.
Well, now it's like you realize next week's episode, I will be in Atlanta at the Walker Stalker. So it'll be, I will be broadcasting somewhere from either the hotel or from somewhere in Atlanta after the airing of next week's episode. So
nice.
Yeah, so I will be amongst the Walking Dead people.
All right.
And
say hi to my boyfriend.
He's not gonna be there.
Well, you don't know that.
No, she's talking about the fish man from.
So it should be fun. I'm headed down there Thursday. I'd get down there Thursday and come back next Tuesday. So,
are you going to live tweet from the event? Are you going to send out some stuff?
Yeah. Well, it's like I do. I kind of sort of do, but it's my assistant that sends it.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't tell us how we can get you in social media.
I haven't. Well, because I haven't got there yet.
Oh.
Well, it's like, you can stalk me on both Facebook and Twitter at Olaf Barbosa, but just don't stalk too close because I do get nervous and I do have an itchy trigger finger. Oh, there it is.
There we go. And that's hilarious. And you can get me at Kinte F on Twitter. That's KINTE F on Twitter. And you can go to our website, indyradio.org. That's INDYradio.org. And like I said, we'll be back next week. You guys have a beautiful rest of your weekend. I know it's not much left of it, except for Jen. She got like about 6 more hours left. So
yeah.
So
living in the past.
All right, you guys have a good one. Peace.